Welcome to your Barbados Today evening news update for Tuesday, October 29. Thanks for joining us. I am Fernella Wedderburn. Barbados's public finances and reduced public sector indebtedness continue to improve, while international reserves are steadily increasing. Despite this, Central Bank Governor Cleviston Haynes forecasts that the island's growth prospects for 2019 will remain flat. He gave the predictions this morning in his review of the island's economic performance in the first 9 months of the year.
Real economic activity declined by an estimated 0.2% for the 9-month period as ongoing delays in the start of private sector investment projects, together with low levels of public sector capital spending, eroded the gains from the sustained increase in tourism activity. The third quarter performance was subdued as the improvement in tourism and business and other services were insufficient to offset declines in the rest of the economy.
However, he says the bank has raised next year's forecast by 0.5 percentage point.
Fiscal consolidation will continue to underpin the overall adjustment effort. The targeted primary balance of 6% of GDP on a full fiscal year basis remains essential to the continued effort to maintain macroeconomic stability and ensure that overall debt continues on the downward trajectory. The adjustment gains through the first 9 months of the year portend a favorable outlook for the economy through the remainder of 2019 and into 2020. Moderate growth is anticipated in the context of the improved confidence that the enhanced macroeconomic environment is generating. Based on current data, the bank has a flat growth forecast for 2019, with some improvement in domestic spending expected during the fourth quarter as the impact of lower personal income tax rates and the gradual payment of tax refunds begin to take effect. The bank has raised its forecast for 2020 by 0.5 percentage point to the range of 1.25 to 1.75%.
Mr. Haynes says the strengthening of that recovery, however, hinges primarily on the demand for tourism services and the pace of investment activity.
Economic developments in the global economy continue to be impacted by uncertainty, but increased airlift and special events are expected to provide an impetus to the tourism sector during the year. New investment projects, mainly in tourism and alternative energy, are in the pipeline to come on stream in 2020. Early implementation of these projects could raise the growth outcome. With the conclusion of the external debt restructuring, interest payments on external commercial debt will resume during the second quarter of 2020. However, the improved tourism earnings, increased investment flows, and continued support from multilateral financial institutions are expected to ensure further strengthening of the gross international reserves. We have made an encouraging, confident start to what is a difficult challenge. However, we must not become complacent, as unfavorable global economic developments can easily undermine our efforts.
Over at the island's Parliament, a minister in the Ministry of Finance, Ryan Strawn, led off debate on the debt holder approval of a debt restructuring validation bill 2019, which is to restructure Barbados's foreign debt. The passing of the resolution will allow for government to launch the external debt exchange to replace the existing foreign commercial debt with 2 new bonds at an interest rate of 6.5%.
The bond that will be issued, which is a 10-year bond until 2029, is up to US $547 million. The second bond is the past due interest bond, because as you are aware, sir, when we suspended the debt payments on June 1st, we stopped paying the interest on the external debt, and therefore between then and the end of September, interest would have accrued. And therefore, we have designed 2 specific bonds which will, on this second one, will repay the interest that would have accumulated over the last 16 months. Sir, and that is what this specific bond will do, and that is up to $32.5 million US.
Strawn said government had also taken the decision to wrap 4 bonds into one instrument.
Initially, we had a US $150 million bond at 7.5% when it was originally issued. That was due on the 15th of December 2021. We had a US $200 million at 7%, sir, that was due on the 4th of August 2022. We had a US $190 million when it was issued at 6.625. That was due in December of 2035. And the Credit Suisse, which was borrowed in 2013, that was US $225 million, that was due to mature in 2019. But that was the bond, sir, that was being traded at close to, in terms of the real interest rate, at close to 13%, that created the issues with respect to where we are. Now, sir, what we've done is to roll that quantum of debt, as well as a few other smaller debts, to restructure that into this instrument now, which will be reissued as one of up to $547.5 million.
However, in his contribution, opposition leader Bishop Joseph Avali questioned whether the government got the best deal possible for the country or whether it had settled.
The way we boast of a 26% shave, fine. But Greece, Mr. Deputy Speaker, got a 50% haircut deal, better than Barbados. Argentina, Mr. Deputy Speaker, got not 26%, nor 36, nor 46, nor 56, nor 66% haircut. Mr. Deputy Speaker got 70% haircut. So we have to ask ourselves, did we get the best deal possible, or did we have to settle in the given circumstances for what we got? Now that is a legitimate question being asked.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Craft Center. Kick off the weekend this Friday from 4 p.m. to midnight with loads of food, drinks, and entertainment. Get ready for Crop Over with the Rhythm Root Street Parade. Party like it's Kadooman Day on the street around Pelican Village with costume reveler, music, and more. It's Festive Friday. It's Festive Friday at the Bridgetown Night Market at Pelican Village Center from 4 p.m. to midnight. Admission free.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from our region now, and the Speaker of the House of Assembly in St. Vincent says he is quitting the ruling Unity Labour Party of Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves. And Jomo Thomas says he will also leave his post as Speaker early next year. Thomas, a human rights lawyer and activist who was the ULP's candidate for South Leeward in the 2015 general election, told reporters that he had no intention of offering himself as a candidate in the next general election. Prime Minister Gonsalves on Monday announced that the poll will be held by the end of 2020, ahead of the March 2021 constitutional deadline. And finally, the UK is set to go to the polls on December 12 after MPs backed Prime Minister Boris Johnson's call for an election following months of Brexit deadlock. More in this Reuters TV report.
The ayes have it. The ayes.
Christmas came early for UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson Tuesday, who won Parliament's approval 238 to 20 for a December early general election. This after a string of stinging defeats, Johnson finally received the necessary backing from opposition parties. Labour's Jeremy Corbyn had opposed an election, while a no-deal Brexit was still on the table. But now that the EU has finalized the UK's third Brexit extension until the end of January, he said that condition was now met. The early election will be held on December 12th. The UK's first December election in almost a century is set to be highly unpredictable. Johnson insists that an election will alleviate what he casts as a nightmare paralysis that prevents any EU divorce outcome at all.
And that's news, but for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Isobe Media and bus terminals as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.